gotta adjust my hat. Okay. All right. Hey everyone, Daniel here, and I'm at NC Comicon Oak City with Chris Sims and Chad Bowers, writing team on numerous things, including X-Men 92, Guardians of the Galaxy #1.mu,
yes,
the Monsters Unleashed tie-in for those of you who are not in the know with all the Marvel confusing numberings because they're weird.
That's completely
makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and numerous other things that I cannot remember off the top.
Downset fight.
They're on the table in front of you. You only got 2.
Hey.
Subatomic Party Girls at Monkey Brain Comics
with Eric Anderson.
Dr. Impossible.
No, I didn't
Dracula
write that
Unconquered.
I wrote that one.
I was going.
Oh yeah, Deadpool Bad Blood.
Deadpool Bad Blood. SwordQuest just announced. Another project that's going to be announced on Monday.
Youngblood coming out in
I didn't write that one.
Yeah,
that's
the thing. I was trying to focus on just the books that y'all were writing together.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey, I
so
wrote
it's
Dracula
like,
Unconquered.
Yeah, you did.
That's your hot series.
This is my hot all ages adventure comic series. We're
Okay,
on ComicsAlliance right now.
So you guys mentioned a couple projects that you had coming up. Including
SwordQuest obviously is like the one that we're doing together. That's probably our next big thing that we're doing. Deadpool Bad Blood is going to be huge. If you don't know about it, it's going to be the first original Deadpool original graphic novel. It's going to be out May 17th. Co-plotted and drawn by Rob Liefeld. It's amazing looking.
It's legitimately the best stuff he's ever done.
It's incredible.
In his career. It's amazing.
We just sit there and like look at the pages.
Yeah.
But we're done with it. Rob's done with it. We got the cover proof back yesterday. It's going to be fantastic.
It's off to the printer.
It's
going
going to be so good.
It's got an all-new villain for Deadpool that the 3 of us created.
Yeah, if you've ever thought, man, where's Deadpool's Sabretooth?
Yeah.
Like where's his Darth Vader?
Yeah.
Where's his where's his Lex Luthor?
And that's what Rob told us when we came on the project.
Exactly.
He was like, I want to give Deadpool Deadpool a Joker. I want to give Deadpool a Sabretooth. I want to give him the guy that other people can use, that we can use in the future, that they could put in movies, they could put on TV. That, like, this could be Deadpool's arch nemesis. And so we're trying to give him a guy that can come back, a guy that's tied to his past, but in a way that you might not expect. We bring up a lot of Deadpool's past in this. There's a lot of bad blood in his history. Title of the book.
That's it.
We go back to...
Great title.
We go back to...
Does it come with a Taylor Swift CD?
We did say if we do a sequel, we're going to call it Deadpool Bad Blood Wildest Dreams, which I think would be good. But we go back to X-Force, we go back to Weapon X, we go back to other places, and but it's all very Deadpool right now.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited for people to see it.
It does a really good job of like covering the whole entirety of like Deadpool's like history, right?
Yeah.
Some time before he was Deadpool, like at the heart of when he was Deadpool, like when we first meet him in the '90s, and then like today. It really ties into everything. Yeah. So,
but obviously,
you got some cool Domino stuff in there. We got some cool X-Force stuff in there, and yeah, it feels very much of the moment, but does a really good job of sort of being like a nice touches on every one of his eras.
Feels really contemporary, like because I mean like Rob is obviously like a huge fan of like the movie, so it has a lot of that sensibility.
Who would not be?
Yeah, well, he's
great.
in it.
The movie's
you
good.
know?
Yeah, he's in the movie.
He's in it.
So good.
So it's got a lot of like. We took a lot of cues from that in terms of like the mood and the dialogue, a lot of cues from the current comics. We've been working with Jordan D. White, who's the editor on Deadpool. He was the editor on X-Men 92. So he was the editor on this project. If you've liked Deadpool for the past few years, he's been the guy kind of steering that ship as far as editorial. So.
Yeah, so it feels like the Deadpool books of today, but also feels like the Deadpool that you want to read that Rob kicked off years ago. So I mean, there's Mercs for Money stuff in there. It's real current.
So you are drawing from some of the Cullen Bunn stuff.
Yeah.
Which
like I said, Domino's in there, and Domino's reason for sort of being in the book is not really hard to get to. It kind of makes sense with kind of if you know what's going on in the Deadpool books right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean like Rob's Rob, like Rob knows what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
We had to this was kind of we wrote Deadpool for like a little bit in '92 when he showed up, but we really had to kind of sit down with like the Jerry Duggan stuff and
the Joe Kelly stuff. We went back to Daniel Way stuff. We went back to all the stuff.
Gail.
Was a huge influence
on
Agent X.
Me.
Yeah, Evan Dorkin stuff. Like we tried to figure out all the different tones that have been hit over the years, and just try to get a little bit of that in there.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah,
but still make it like
try to make like the perfect Deadpool.
Well, one of the things that Rob said to us when we first started working on it, right out of the gate, he said, "There's a Deadpool for everybody," and so we really tried to use that as our like mission statement for the book and get a lot of that in there, but make it seem cohesive and not like he was like, you know, I mean, he's obviously a crazy person, but at the same time, not make him seem like a crazy person going through all these different eras.
Yeah.
That was really like one of the most, kind of for me, one of the most surprising and like really heartening and encouraging things about this project. Because I kind of like we knew when we were coming onto it, like Rob was already attached. Like Rob was gonna do the book whether we were on it or not.
Right.
It was just a question of who was gonna be there doing the scripting. And when we got on that phone with Rob for the first time, and he was like, "There's a Deadpool for everybody. There's an R-rated movie Deadpool. There's a comedy Deadpool. There's the Rick Remender X-Force Deadpool, which Rob said was his favorite.
Ultimate Spider-Man Deadpool who appeared in the kids' cartoons.
Yeah.
You know?
And the thing about the character is that all of those work.
Yeah.
They all work.
They all work.
In the same way that Batman kind of works across all these different genres, like, they all work. It's beautiful. It's really good. Yeah.
And hearing Rob say that, when I figured, honestly, he's the star, right?
Mm-hmm.
I figured we were going to come in and we were going to do Rob's Deadpool. But Rob coming in and saying, like, no, this has the potential to appeal to fans who are coming at it from so many different places, whether they're Rob Liefeld fans, whether they're Deadpool movie fans, whether they're, 2 or 3 Chris and Chad fans who are going to pick up this book. And that was really encouraging. Like, working with Rob was super awesome on this book.
Yeah.
Like,
all right. Well, transitioning from that, Chad, you've obviously worked more with Rob.
You want to get in the middle?
You worked more with Rob.
This is my good side, though, so I keep turning my bad side. So, look.
Watch him.
Okay.
These guys.
You can see it, though, right?
That's right.
Bad? Good.
No, I mean I can see it from here.
Bad? Good.
Look at me.
Yeah, that's right.
Look at me, Sims. Okay.
Keep your
All
eyes
right.
on
So
it.
Chad.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you've obviously worked on with Rob a lot on the Youngblood Reborn stuff that you're doing. So what would you say to someone who hates Youngblood, who is the cliche kind of, oh, Youngblood is everything that's wrong with the 90s. What would you say to them to get them to pick this book up?
I would say, have you read Youngblood?
Right.
Or are you just kind of like saying what a lot of other people say? And then I would say
I've read a couple issues.
And then I would say read Youngblood. I would say give it a chance. And if you don't like what's been done before, don't assume that we're going to do the same thing, because our book's not going to be the same kind of book. Now, it is certainly set in the same universe. It's definitely in the Extreme universe, and it does pick up on stuff that's happened before. But it is built to be a new reader's book, and it is built to be something that is easily accessible to somebody who either likes Youngblood or doesn't like Youngblood. So yeah, it's fun.
I like Bad Rock.
I would say yeah.
I like Bad Rock
Bad
too.
Rock's great.
Bad Rock's in that book.
Bad Rock's great. Yeah, I think you're going to be happy to see Bad Rock in the book. There's some stuff going on with him that I think is probably going to, like, old school Extreme fans are going to be like, oh my gosh. But Bad Rock's there. They're on the cover. Shaft's there. There's a lot of changes that have happened since the last time we saw them in the John McLaughlin, John Miller run. It's been about, I'd say, maybe 5-6 years since that run.
Yeah.
In story, it's been 5-6 years since that stuff happened, and a lot's changed with Youngblood.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you've read Youngblood and haven't liked it before, it's the same thing. I've read Batman stories that I didn't like before. Doesn't mean I'm not going to like a Batman story if it's done a way that I haven't seen before. So yeah.
Definitely.
I'm not going to say that people didn't come to their own conclusions about a book, because I never want to dismiss anybody's opinions, but I do feel like there's a lot to be said for, a lot of us that were our age, we kind of came up in the early days of the comics internet, or reading Wizard magazine when they were kind of clowning on Youngblood. But if you go back and read that,
but that's also a house that was built off Image Comics and Youngblood and Spawn and those kind of things too.
Youngblood's got so many good ideas.
Yeah.
It's legitimately
it's so far ahead
10 years ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Because you know what the 21st century version of Youngblood is? It's the Ultimates.
Well, that's what I keep saying. I've had multiple interviews. It's like we would not have the movie Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Are so close to what Youngblood was. It's crazy. So and I think there's a lot of momentum that got started, like you said, in the late '90s, early 2000s, that it was cool to bash those guys in a lot of ways, especially Rob. Rob takes a lot of hits for a lot of different stuff, and it's just unwarranted in so many ways. I mean, I can understand not liking somebody's art, but kind of destroying the body of work that clearly does have a lot of influence. is hard for me to take sometimes. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, but when I came around on Rob was when I went back and read a lot of that stuff and like legitimately like sat down with Youngblood and read it, sat down with like Heroes Reborn and read it, you know?
Right. I mean, if you're looking at just Youngblood in general, though, I mean, Rob did a lot of Youngblood, but Rob's not the only voice on Youngblood. You know, there's the Alan Moore run, there's the Joe Casey run, there's the John McLaughlin run, there's
Chad Bowers run.
Chad Bowers run that's going to be coming.
Yeah, it's just like Alan Moore, Robert Kirkman, Joe Casey, Chad Bowers.
Yeah, Mark Miller, and some stuff. So I mean, it's
so your name is now definitely among those. You know, you're now in a list with, you know, those titans. How's that feel?
In Wikipedia, it's going to say Youngblood writer, previous Robert Kirkman, Chad Bowers, Chris Sims. Next one's weird. There you go. I'm gonna replace you on that book.
Please.
Lastly, let's talk about SwordQuest. You guys' new thing. What's that book? What's that kind of book like? Just like, what's the general gist of it about?
Do you know anything about the video game SwordQuest?
I do not.
Okay.
Actually.
Here's the short
I'm not
version.
a gamer at all.
There was a series of 4 games released for the Atari 2600.
3.
It's supposed to be 4.
Yeah.
Earthworld,
Fireworld,
Waterworld, and Airworld. And each game had a real-life contest involving a comic, and the comics were put out through DC at the time. So it's Jerry Conway and Roy Thomas. They were packing comics, but they were made in-house by DC.
Yeah, so it's Lin Wein.
No, it's Jerry Conway and Roy Thomas.
That's right. Jerry Conway and
Dick Giordano and George Perez.
What Romain Tegal was alright?
Dick Giordano and George Perez.
Really?
Yeah, at least on number 1.
I thought Romain Tegal was the inker, but that's anyway. Yeah, it's George Perez and Jerry Conway. And,
yeah,
a lot of in-house
it's
DC.
Very DC guys.
Yeah.
So the deal with it was, you would be in the video game, and your character in the game is looking for this mystic artifact, and then you would run across these 2 numbers, and so you would go to that page and panel in the comic and search for a hidden word.
Clue.
And there would be a puzzle involving those hidden words, and if you put them all in the right order and send them into Atari, you would be entered to win in this contest, where you could win a real-life version of the mystical artifact that was in the game. So there was a golden chalice, there was a golden medallion,
there's a crown.
And then the big prize for the whole thing was going to be this $50,000 golden jewel-encrusted sword. This is all real. This is all history.
Yeah.
So the video game market crashes in 1983. The 4th game never comes out, and they never finish the contest. So that sword is never given away. We read somewhere, I don't know if this is true, but we read that allegedly the guy who owned Atari had it hanging in his office behind his desk for 20 years. And nobody
there's a photo of it, right?
Yeah.
Did we find a photo of it?
We found a photo of it. Yeah. We didn't find a photo of it in the office. So that sword exists. That sword's in the world. The other stuff, like one guy from South Carolina won it, which is kind of when we knew that we
we
found a kid from Aiken won it. We were like, oh yeah, we got to do this.
I found out that some guy that I went to high school's dad was a finalist.
Yeah.
In Fireworld.
One guy had the medallion and he melted it down.
Yeah, he
kept college.
He kept the jewels, but melted down the gold.
Yeah. Wow. So our story is about Peter Case, who's 45 years old now in 2017. He played the game when he was a kid. He wanted that sword more than any, in the way that only a 10-year-old can want something. It was all-consuming for him. And he's kind of never gotten over not having it. So he goes through kind of a bad time in his life. You'll see that in the Zero issue that's out in May. And then he decides that what he needs to do is get his hands on that sword. So he's going to go on a real-life quest to steal the sword. So it's his sword quest. We're kind of, the name of the arc is, we're calling it SwordQuest Real World.
And nobody needs to read the book. First issue, right?
No, there's a lot I left out. That's what the book's about.
Real life SwordQuest.
Real life SwordQuest.
Pick up issue 1 right now.
Zero.
Right now.
Zero's out. I think it's early May. I think maybe the week before Free Comic Book.
I believe it's May 3rd.
May 3rd. Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Well, then obviously you can't pick it up right now.
And it's 25 cents for the first chapter of the story.
And it's 30 pages.
Yeah, 16 pages. It's me and Chad writing it. It's Ghostwriter X drawing it, who was the artist of Downset Fight that we worked on.
Yep.
Award-winning graphic novel that Chad and I did back in 2014.
Yep.
Josh Kroc is the letterer, so it's the whole team from Downset Fight coming back together. And it's Dynamite and Atari have been super great to work with. Like, we've been treating it like it's a creator-owned graphic novel. And they've been very supportive of everything we want to do. It's clearly a licensed comic, and it's clearly tying into this. They're billing it as the first Atari comic in 30 years, which it is. But we are treating it like it's a creator-owned graphic novel, like it's our next project as a team after Downset Fight. And I think it's going to be super fun. We're working on it. We're going to be working on it today at the table, and I think it's going to be surprising. I think people aren't going to expect all the stuff that we're going to do with it. And I think it's going to be really fun for people to read. It's not the video game tie-in comic you expect. Which, unfortunately, a lot of people are like, you guys going to finish that Jerry Conway, Roy Thomas story? And we're like, well, no.
Well, it's funny that when we started working on it, there were two different ways we could have gone, right?
Yeah.
One way would have been to have gone like super into the fantasy aspect of it, and really a kind of like continuation of that story.
We did think about doing that.
And then we were like,
we love doing like puzzle stuff.
Are we really going to do a fantasy comic better than Jerry Conway and George Perez? And it's like, yeah, that's something we're interested in. And I think as the story progresses, you'll see us become more and more connected to stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think that overall, making a modern day story that tells the story of like a guy who just can't get over this thing that he could have had when he was like 10 or 11 years old is much more interesting and much more accessible.
And a lot of it is kind of taking those, like, what do you do in a fantasy story? Like when you put the party together and you send them on the quest, what do you do? What do those things look like if it's happening in 2017 in the real world?
Right.
Like what motivates people? What motivates a rogue and a fighter and a cleric? Like what do those people look like in real life? So that's kind of the aesthetic that we're playing with in there. So if you're a fantasy fan, I think you're going to enjoy it. If you're a retro video game nerd like I am, I think you're probably going to enjoy it. If you're, hey, how's it going? If you're into the stuff that we've done, like in the way that Downset Fight is kind of a strange, offbeat crime comic.
Yeah, strange sports story.
Yeah, it's a strange sports story. This is a strange fantasy story.
Nice.
So.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it just based on what you guys have said. So I will definitely be picking up Zero issue in May. So
cool. We've also got another book for Dynamite that's going to be announced tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Well, this video is not going to go out until after tomorrow. So I want to go ahead.
I mean, as long as it gets announced tomorrow, you can put this or you can edit this out. But we will be doing.
I will edit this out.
We are the new writing team.
Ash versus Army of Darkness. So we're going to be bringing back the Army of Darkness brand over.
A comic I have wanted to write since I was 10 years old.
It's funny when we were working on SwordQuest, like we started talking about other properties. We were like, hey, look, we'd love to write other stuff for you. And they were like, well, what do you? Here's a list of things that we have. What would you be interested in? And so Chris was like, well, I want Army of Darkness.
That was it. That was it.
And
for me.
I was like,
we want Bond, but we don't think they're going to give us Bond.
We'll probably never get James Bond. But at the same time, Army of Darkness was big on my list. I wanted Bond. I think I put on there like the Lone Ranger because I've been wanting to do a Western for years, and all this other stuff. And like Army of Darkness is the one that came back and they're like, well, let's hear what you want to do.
Yeah, I literally just hit him back. Like it's the only thing I ever wrote fan fiction for when I was 13 years old. So
boom, we got that on tape.
Yeah.
We got that on tape, Sims.
On a computer that was not connected to the internet, so it was never published anywhere. But
we're gonna run that fan fiction the back of #1 though.
Funny story. I found my mom sent me that package, and my mom sent me a local newspaper in the town where I grew up. They had done a page in 1999. There was like all the kids on the high school paper got to like write stories in the real newspaper, and mine's a commentary. Did I tell you this?
You told me that you found.
Mine's a commentary on legalizing video poker in 1999, and it reads exactly like an Ask Chris from 2017. And I'm like, it's been 17 years, and I have not changed at all.
Makes sense. All right. Well, I mean, it was great. It was, Thanks, guys. It was great talking to you.
Always a pleasure.
Always a
Always
pleasure.
Yeah.
And you guys gave me 20 minutes worth of.
That's good.
That is way better than what we had.
We usually have no problem.
That's what way better.
We usually have no problem talking. So that's the cool thing about an interview.
Do you see what I have to deal with? Do you see like?
No, it's great. No.
So, Chris Sims, Chad Bowers. I'm Daniel Adkins.
Youngblood.
Yes.
SwordQuest.
Deadpool, Bad Blood.
Yeah.
And some other stuff.
And
Ash
some
versus
other
Army of Darkness
Pick 'em
if it's
all
past
up.
Tuesday.
Yeah. If it's not, I will bleep that out.
Yeah.
Get
And
this guy in
Guardians
stores now.
of the Galaxy.
We got another thing we didn't talk about. We can't talk about. Though.
We can't talk about.
That's
Can't
another
talk.
thing.
All right.
This is Monsters Unleashed one shot. It's got a new monster that we kind of created and David Baldeon designed. Fighting Groot and Rocket. If you like Rocket and Groot and you want to see, if you want everyone to wonder what's Groot afraid of, read this comic. It's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll just about do it. Thanks, guys. Great talking with you.